Hi everybody, this is Sarah at Health by Sarah. Today I wanted to share with you about the importance of following your dreams, following your passion, and doing that as a career and avoiding doing something that you actually hate, or going into a career that you hate, because that is what I ended up doing. In high school, and even before that, my whole life, I had a passion for music. I had a passion for singing, for the performing arts in general. And I just loved acting, singing, dancing. And then I ended up picking up an instrument as well, playing the clarinet for 8 years, from fourth grade through 12th grade. And I was actually planning on doing that professionally after college as well. And I kept hearing people saying to me that, how are you going to support yourself in this career? You're going to be a starving artist. At first, I didn't really care about those voices because I was just thinking, well, this is what I love to do. This is what's going to make me happy, and that's what's important. And unfortunately, after a few years, closer to the end of high school for me, those voices started getting louder. And I started to really logically think, maybe it isn't a good idea for me to go into a music career, because maybe they're right. Maybe I won't be able to make very much money and I'll be, as they call, a starving artist. So I started to consider other career options, and I decided to get a business degree. And I really wanted to do international business, just because other cultures and languages have always interested me. And so that's what I went for in college, and I ended up being accepted into the program 2 years into college. And you had to choose another major as a second major because it couldn't be your primary major. So I chose accounting. And I ended up starting a career in accounting. And pretty soon after that, I got started in IT consulting. And when I started with IT consulting, the first company I was with, I kind of liked what I did. I kind of convinced myself that I was happy doing that. And shortly after that, I transferred to another company where I had to travel 80 to 100% of the time. And pretty much immediately after starting that job, I knew that I hated that career, because I was really finally getting into the details of what it meant to be an IT consultant. And I really hated it, especially with the travel. I'm really more of a homebody, and just the combination of a career I hated with traveling and not being home all the time, it made me feel like I was having a double life, really, and I just really hated it. And the reason I'm telling you all this, sharing my story, is because I feel like being in a career I hated for several years really negatively affected my health, just with all the stress and just not feeling like I had a purpose in what I was doing. And all the time I was there, I was searching for another way out, just for a way to leave the career and be able to support myself in something that I did love. And I had ideas of the things that I was passionate about. At the very same time, I had, a few years before, started to overcome my health struggles and used real food to heal me, along with other methods that are alternative to Western medicine. And those really did help my health. But I was also struggling because of all the stress from a job I hated. And I couldn't just do anything, because, like I said, I had to find a way to actually support myself. This was when I was still single, not married, and so I didn't want to go back living with my parents. I still wanted to be independent, and so it was a real struggle for me, for the past several years up until recently. Even though I quit my job nearly 2 years ago when my daughter was born, I still struggled after she was born to find a career that I really wanted. And yes, I know my purpose is being a mother and a wife, but I also wanted to feel purpose in a career of my own. So it was actually sort of a need for our own family, because when I quit my job, it was a huge loss in income. I was the primary breadwinner by a lot, and so we had to make a lot of sacrifices. And I was happy to do that. My husband was happy to do that. It was my decision. He didn't make me do it, of course. But I really felt like I needed to leave. I was so miserable in it before I had my daughter, and I knew I would be even more miserable now being a mother and loving her so much that I would have to be away from her 4 or 5 days a week, and she wouldn't even know me. And I didn't want that to happen. So we made the sacrifices we had to make with me quitting my job. But then after a while, my husband was like, it would be good for you to make a little extra money for our family. It came out of a need, really, for us to make some extra money, where I discovered over the past several months what it is I really wanted and needed to do. And so at first I just had the idea, well, I'm in the choir at church. I cantor at the masses. Maybe I can just help them by getting paid to sing at weddings or their funerals, and I would be happy to do that. And so I just started putting my name out there for that, but I wasn't actually treating it professionally then. And it's just over the past few months that I started to treat my singing professionally, and I created a YouTube page, Facebook page, and a page on my website as well. I'll be sure to link those in the description below, as well as put a link to my YouTube channel for singing here, which is called Sarah Ruiz Soloist. And so I finally feel like, I've been praying for years for God to help me to find something that I love to do that also wouldn't take me away from my daughter, at least not for very long. And I feel like my prayers have finally been answered, that, doing singing as a soloist, vocalist, is really what I've wanted to do all along and what I'm so passionate about. But it's also really great because it's flexible too, because it doesn't have like the normal 9 to 5 hours that an office job has that I previously had. It has, it's kind of what you choose to do with it. It's like, if you're just singing at weddings, it's just like on weekends most of the time, just for a couple hours. And then funerals, it's really an hour or so. And all those things don't really take me away from my daughter very much, but I also get to do what I love. And just singing has always given me so much joy. So I hope that my story has been helpful to you, and you could be like me, where you kind of suppressed the ideas in your head of what you really were passionate about, what you really wanted to do. So maybe deep inside you know what you're passionate about. You just kind of have to do a little searching and really thinking about what that might be for you. But we were all meant to do something. We all have a purpose. So I think it's really important that we find what that is, and for our health too, because it really can negatively affect our health. And so many people are in careers that they just hate. And it's just really not worth it, because we're only on this earth for a certain amount of time. And it's good for us to be happy and joyful about what we do and what our purposes are in this life. So until next time, this is Health by Sarah.